So much for watching at 10. I'm Mark McPherson. The couple accused in a poisoning plot to kill two young women are facing charges in both Rock and Dane County courts. Andrea Whitaker, the woman behind the alleged plot, appeared in Rock County Court today where her bond was set at $15 million. WMTV's Tabitha Bland joins us now. And Tabitha, why was that bond set so high?
Mark, today the judge said in his 40 years in law, he's never seen something so detailed and serious as Paul Van Dyne and Andrea Whitaker's plot, even going as far as to say if the complaint is accurate, it includes a great deal of support in terms of evidence. Today, one of those victims chose to identify herself in court to talk face-to-face with Whitaker for the first time ever.
So today, though, is very special for me because this is the first time I'm ever knowingly having any contact with Andrea Whitaker.
26-year-old Amanda Bade survived a poisoning plot. Now she's meeting one of the people behind it for the first time.
Annie, it's a pleasure to finally meet you. It's become clear I don't need to introduce myself.
Evidence alleges Whitaker had been stalking Bade after learning she had a history with Paul Van Dyne. Whitaker's internet search history showing she had searched Bade's full name 96 times.
She knows my addresses, my colleges, employers, my friends, and I've just learned her name.
Under the circumstances, having practiced law now for over 40 years, don't know that I've seen a more detailed, serious, and allegations that, if the complaint's accurate, have a good deal of support in terms of evidence.
The evidence also including conversations between Whitaker and Van Dyne talking about toxic chemicals and how to get their hands on them.
Annie did extensive online research into the best methods of getting away with murder.
Whitaker, a pharmacy student, also searching toxic chemicals like thallium, cyanide, and abrin 125 times. Police later finding all of those chemicals in Bade's car and enough thallium in Bade's system to have killed her without medical attention.
Women like Annie hide behind a facade of purity and achievement and innocence while ignorant and vulnerable puppets commit their crimes.
Bade surviving to tell the story and to watch Whitaker being charged with a $15 million bond.
Annie has given very stealthy, quiet, but capable monsters new ideas. You can give them new consequences.
Van Dyne and Whitaker are charged with multiple counts of attempted first-degree intentional homicide, stalking, and aggravated battery in Rock County, with Whitaker as party to those crimes. Because the other victim is in Dane County, they will both also appear in Dane County Court tomorrow afternoon for their arraignments. Live in the studio, Tabitha Bland, WMTV 15 News.